Thank you, Monty. The Festschrift Symposium honors the leadership of Rick Valachovic as he retires as President and CEO of the American Dental Education Association. This is an opportunity for all of us who have known and worked with Rick to reflect on the values that he holds so dearly and the ways in which he mentors and counsels students, faculty, staff, and other colleagues. When a group of us started thinking about or talking about the thread that weaves through Rick's career, the one trait that all of us agreed defined Rick was the way that he promotes excellence in others and for himself. Some would consider this a virtue, and we would agree. In general terms, virtue is often thought of as a moral excellence or simply doing the right thing at the moment. But when one looks more deeply into the ways in which religions and philosophers have defined the idea, more enhanced perspectives on the concept of virtue emerges. In the Judaic tradition, the prophet calls on Jews to lead a righteous life. Muslims believe that the Quran is a definitive description of virtue. Traditional Christianity holds 4 values, including temperance, prudence, courage, and justice. Buddhists find the concept of virtue in the Noble Eightfold Path and the 4 divine states. Shinto emphasizes living with sincerity and virtue. Hinduism and Confucianism and most other religions seem to identify virtue in many of these ways. Probably the best known philosopher to explore the concept of virtue was Aristotle. Aristotle dedicated most of his life to promoting the concept of virtue as human flourishing. He purported that each person has an innate responsibility to strive, develop, and become his or her best self. A virtuous life is the way to human flourishing, or what Aristotle called eudaimonia. Flourishing is the purest of all human endeavors and is the purpose of a well-lived life. To us, Rick Valachovic exemplifies the real well life and all that he does to promote human flourishing. But if we were to identify specific areas that have stood out in Rick's career that exemplify the ways in which he has focused his work to enhance the lives of others, they would include ensuring that dentistry continues to be a learned profession, developing leaders at all levels, strengthening dentistry's participation in interprofessional education and patient care, and promoting diversity and inclusion. Each of these aspects of Rick's career can be considered a virtue, intensifying the development of habits that promote human flourishing. A Festschrift Symposium is a way of recognizing the key attributes of someone's career. It is not meant to be a rehearsal for a eulogy. We expect more contributions from Rick in whatever he does next. 4 of Rick's colleagues have joined us today to share their thoughts about the virtue of the areas that highlight Rick's career so far. Professor Pam Zakowski, the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at the University of Detroit Mercy and an ADEA past president, will begin by speaking on how dentistry can flourish as a learned professor. Dr. Carl Hayden, the founder and president of AAL and a former ADEA Associate Executive Director, will address the virtue of leadership. Dr. Carol Aschenbrenner, a recognized leader in medical education, will focus on ways in which the health of the public can flourish through interprofessional education and collaborative care. Dr. Lily Garcia, the Associate Dean for Education at the University of Iowa, College of Dentistry and past chair of the ADEA Board of Directors, will speak on how the virtue of diversity and inclusion can help individuals and institutions flourish in academic and healthcare environments. And then, of course, Rick will follow to close us out. And please join me in welcoming Professor Pamela Zakowski. Pam.